Hi, my name is John Ketteman, former Sergeant First Class in the United States Army. In May of 1995, I married my beautiful wife, Mary. In 1997, we had our son, Kyle Nolan Ketteman. Upon his birth, he was very ill. At the time, I didn't have a job that had insurance, so I decided to join the Army. So in May 27th, 1997, that's exactly what I did as a combat medic. Basic training for me was not easy. Part of the reason I joined the Army was I did have a bad attitude. I was very aggressive. So within the first week of being in basic, I'm running down the stairwell because I'm waiting for a formation. I ended up running into a drill sergeant, not once, but twice with my shoulder. Upon being corrected for this behavior, I learned very quickly that discipline was going to be very important in order for me to be successful in basic training. I missed my family. I had a new son. I had a son that was 2 years old, my wife, and I missed my family very much. It was very difficult to be gone from them for an extended period of time. I did find the camaraderie amongst myself and the other soldiers that were there helped me survive basic training. Deployment for me was very difficult. I missed my family a lot. It's always difficult to be gone away from your family for an extended period of time, especially for 1 year. I was deployed to Djibouti, Africa, which I was working with the Civil Affairs Department. So we were responsible for providing humanitarian aid to the local nationals in the Horn of Africa. My job was the senior civil affairs liaison, so I was responsible for dealing with the embassy and making sure all of our missions ran effectively. While missing my family was very difficult, I think our presence in that area was instrumental in fighting the war on terrorism. I faced in the Army was, although I came in the Army as a combat medic, I often, over the last 5 years especially, found myself working in positions that I wasn't necessarily trained to work in. I worked as a logistics NCO, as a senior liaison. I worked in the nursing department. I had a wide variety of experience in the Army. I found it most difficult over the last few years to maintain my weight and maintain physical readiness, even though it's a requirement, and as I've gotten older, it's just more difficult to do. I love the Army. I love everything about the Army. I highly encourage anyone that's looking for a career to join the military. I'm very proud of my service, and I'm glad I was able to take care of my family by serving in the Army. The reason I retired was I wasn't physically able to keep up with the young soldiers anymore, and I always told my wife whenever I found I wasn't able to keep up, I would then go ahead and retire. My body's kind of broke down over the years, and it was just too hard for me to maintain weight and to maintain all the standards of what was required for my job. So I thought it was in the best interest of the Army and myself to go ahead and end my career. Since I've retired, some of the things I've been able to focus on is doing a little more woodworking. I enjoy building tables and chairs and just doing odd projects my wife happens to find on Pinterest. I've got to spend a whole lot more time with my family and feel like I really get to connect with my kids now that I'm out of the military. I've also we moved, so that was a significant change, moving from Georgia back to Illinois. I'm getting to getting to know my family again in the local area. I look forward to getting to hunt and fish and just spend a whole lot more family time and concentrate more on that side of my life rather than my career. I love the Army. I love everything about the Army. I highly encourage anyone that's looking for a career to join the military. I'm very proud of my service, and I'm glad I was able to take care of my family by serving in the Army.
Mary Ketteman. I am married to Sergeant First Class Ketteman, who's recently just retired from the Army. He done 21 years. We have 3 sons. What I first thought initially, whenever he said he was going to go into the Army, was I thought he was joking. I really did. I told him, I was like, no, you're not. And the next thing I know, some little short recruiter showed up at the door pounding on it and said, I'm here to see your husband. And next thing I know, he was gone. We just had Kyle, our middle son. He was 2 months old when John left. Difficulties whenever he was gone to basic training was just doing it on your own. We had 2 kids and just being able to function without him and without his support. And he did what he could from where he was at. What it was like whenever he was deployed, and some of the difficulties that we had was, well, the boys were all teenagers, so that was kind of hard. It was a crucial time in their life when, I mean, they needed their dad, but I mean, we understood. So we did a lot of Skyping. We did letters, postcards, phone calls. What it was like to raise 3 children in the Army, it was interesting. I mean, I don't know any other way to raise children, I mean, outside of, being a civilian or being a military spouse, and other than you just do a lot of it on your own. There's, a lot of good time, a lot of great times, actually. I mean, a lot of great places. Sometimes it was hard watching them leave their friends and change schools and start a new place, trying to get a new place. And, it was a lot of fun. But I mean, raising them, you just do it. The challenges during PCS time is just making sure all your ducks are in a row, making sure that you have everybody's medication, you have the dogs taken care of, make sure that they are up to date on all their shots, making sure you have things to survive on, things that you can live and live without for a couple of months, because you're not getting your stuff real quick, and you learn to do with what you have. What it was like being a military spouse, some of the things we did was, you support your husband's unit or your spouse's unit. You have bake sales. You do family readiness groups, which is the FRG. You just engage with the other soldiers and with their wives and their spouses, and you try to make your own little community, your own little family away from family. And the perks of him being in the military was the benefits. The pay was really good. I mean,
What type of benefits did you get?
benefits. Well, you have TRICARE, which is your medical. You have dental. You have your medications paid for. You get additional money whenever you're overseas, or you are compensated for the cost of living each duty station, each place, because everywhere has its own economy, their own kind of ups and downs, so the military tries to accommodate for that. My first initial thought when the paperwork had gone through and they said they had granted him his retirement was, are we doing it for real? It's definitely been a transition. My initial thought was, what are we gonna do? This has been our whole life, the Army has. I mean, we've lived it. And I think that's the hardest part is, you're not around that anymore constantly. You're not in the, in with you don't go on post as much to shop. You don't see as many soldiers as you used to. You don't go to functions as much. It's just, you have to try to learn to relive a different life, but without the military. What life is like after him retiring, well, we're going on almost a year of him being retired. Things have definitely slowed down. He's not gone as much. We definitely get to see him a lot more, which is good. There's gaps, so you get to kind of get to know them all over again. He's finding what he likes to do. I find what I like to do. I'm a huge crafter. I sew, paint. You just have to, and being able to actually finally settle in and stay at a place and knowing that it's your last move. You don't have to worry about him leaving again. One thing I would like for somebody to consider if they were, going to go into the military would be, if you have a family, make sure they're aware of what's going on and what's entailed, because not everybody can do it. Not everybody can handle them being gone all the time. Not everybody can, not everybody has that backbone to be able to support a family and be the mom and the dad while they're gone. Not everybody can do the lonely nights, the worrying constantly. Just make sure that you know what you're getting into. Don't, believe all the hype. And it is a lot of long hours. It's a lot of away from your family. It's a lot of, you might not feel that you want to do it or go where your command tells you to. That's just one of the things. You just gotta suck it up and do it anyway.
Hi, I'm Nicholas McClintock. I'm the son of former U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Kettleman. It was rough. I mean, it was hard to get used to, and it was weird. You wake up every day and you expect to see them there, and then they're not. One of the duties of being independent is just to support the person who's enlisted, who's active duty, whoever puts on that uniform. Some of the challenges you go up against while moving or changing schools is just, you've got the new place that you have to move into, you have the new school, you have to meet new people, make new friends, you have to get used to a whole new area, and you pretty much have to uproot your life and start all over. First initial thought was it was kind of just a joke, because he'd been in for so long that it was weird to think that he wasn't going to be anymore. Growing up with the Army and whatnot, I always kind of figured I'd end up going into the military. I guess that's why I decided to enlist myself with the Navy. I have to go through the same, obstacles, and I have to go over the same hurdles and deal with the same paperwork and everything else that anyone else who wants to enlist would have to deal with. Since Dad has retired, it mostly just enjoyed being able to spend time with him, especially now that I'm fixing to go off to boot camp myself, and I don't know when I'm going to get to see my family again, so I'm taking all the time that I can. If you're looking to join any branch, be it Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, be smart about it. Look it up, see which one fits you best.